Scotland assures fair probe in C. Lots police killing. The new minister in the Ministry of National Security and Port of Spain South MP Attorney Keith Scotland says he visited his constituents in C. Lots on July 27 to assure them he will be there to support them after the police killing of Jonathan Worwood on July 23. Scotland's visit to the community came hours after he was appointed to the cabinet by the Prime Minister to deal with the specific portfolio of police matters. In a telephone interview, he said the main purpose of his visit was to assure the residents their MP was there for them and to encourage the residents to allow the investigation time to take place. He said none of the residents mentioned the idea of protesting over the police killing. Scotland said that the family's attorney, Richard Clarke-Wills, was present to ensure there was fairness in their discussions. Asked if he felt any conflict of interest being a minister in the Ministry of National Security with responsibility for the police and the MP for a constituency in which there was a police killing, he said commiserating with his constituents was part of his job. That is the nature of the lay of the land, and that is what I must do in circumstances where I remain MP for Port of Spain South, which includes C. Lots. It was never an option not to be there for them. PC Shakala Charles. I took no sides. And the officer who was shot, once his family is amenable, I would visit him at some point in time. Worwood was shot around 1 a.m. on July 23, after police raided a compound with several apartments on Production Drive, C. Lots, as part of an investigation into the earlier shooting of police officer Shakala Charles on St. Paul Street, East Dry River, Port of Spain. Charles, an officer assigned to the Guard and Emergency Branch, was on patrol in East Port of Spain around 8:30 p.m. on July 22 when he responded to a shooting at St. Paul Street. He was shot by gunmen while in the front seat of a patrol vehicle. Another man, Karen George, of East Dry River, was also wounded in the attack, and both men were taken to the Port of Spain General Hospital, where they are being treated. Police said they received information that a suspect involved in the shooting was at a house on Production Drive. Worwood, 39, was shot during the raid after police claimed he chopped an officer on his helmet. In an earlier interview, neighbors gave a different account of the shooting incident. They claimed police stormed the compound and questioned several people, including Worwood. They said police officers took Worwood back to his room, and minutes later they head for gunshots. They were asking him about the St. Paul Street shooting, but he don't know because he would have been asleep at the time. He cooked for everybody on the block and went to take a rest. While they asking him, that wasn't enough, and they bring him out of the room, carry him back in, and then the policeman turned and said, "Man down, man down." After he said that, the rest of the police run inside and said, "Oh God, boy, is the wrong man boy. OS asterisk, bring the jeep," a neighbor said. Jonathan Worwood. Newsday contacted DCP Suzette Martin for an update on the condition of Charles and the investigation into his shooting. She requested the questions be sent to her via WhatsApp, but did not reply by press time. Worwood's stepmother, Susan Collymore, said she wanted justice for her son. Collymore said she and her husband raised Worwood and his sister since they were 3 or 4 years old. She said Worwood's father was in New York getting medical attention for an aneurysm, and the news of his son's death left him in a mess. "All I want is justice. If he could get some justice along with some money, it would go to his 3 children, a teenager and 2 under 12. We trying to cope. It isn't easy. Because he wasn't a miserable person. He was a quiet guy. He was the contractor for C. Lots. Most of the houses built in here, he built it. He left about 4 or 5 houses incomplete." She said when Scotland visited the family and spoke to other residents of C. Lots, he recommended them to a lawyer, and Scotland told the family he would try to encourage Worwood's autopsy to be done on Monday. She said only if the autopsy was done on Monday would she feel confident Scotland would be able to help them further. However, Scotland said he made no commitment. He said the first autopsy was not finished but advised the family, if a second autopsy was necessary, he would suggest pathologists Professor Hubert Daisley or Dr. Hugh von Desveen. Police Complaints Authority Director David West said the PCA investigated all police-involved shootings, so it was also investigating Warwood's death. We initiated the complaint, and an office investigator was on the scene the following day interviewing witnesses. He said he could not reveal if a member of the public filed a complaint on the matter as the information was confidential. In addition to addressing the issue of Warwood's death, Scotland said he spent his first day on the job as a minister in the Ministry of National Security listening to the various other concerns of his constituents. On July 25th, at a post-cabinet media briefing, the Prime Minister said Scotland would be appointed as minister in the ministry responsible for police matters. Scotland received his instrument of appointment from President Christine Kangaloo at President's House, St. Anne's on July 26th. Among other issues, he and the residents discussed were their safety and security fears as well as housing. And at least 10 of them will be visiting his constituency office to follow up on those issues, he said. I listened to their concerns and, as far as I can, I will be addressing their concerns as their Member of Parliament. Another Sea Lots resident, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, told Newsday Scotland also assured Warwood's family the man's death was being investigated. He said one of the residents' main concerns was that of the relatively regular police raids when officers would surround their homes late at night or early in the mornings, gather everyone, and question and search them without justification.